Good morning, it's Amber from laceinyourface.com, back again to answer a question posed in my first video, Ask Me Anything, and it was by DS. He wrote, "Guys obviously like your scent and buy your panties for it. Does it do anything for you? Do you like it, hate it, not really care about it?" I think in order to answer that, I'll do it in two parts. The first will be very focused in terms of scent, and the second will be in regards to the entire process of being a used panties provider. I am very olfactory driven, even in terms of my sexuality. So in terms of the part of the question, does it do anything for me? Yes, it does in that sense. I can appreciate it. I know that the people who buy used panties are a little more keen on their olfactory senses, but not only that, and maybe a little more drifting toward their carnal intuition of sorts. You know, back in the day before we were able to actually communicate in language with one another, we had to sniff a lot more. So a woman wouldn't be saying, "I'm ready," she'd be smelling like she was. So yes, I really enjoy the simplicity that's involved with dirtying a pair of panties and having that being so deeply appreciated by somebody. In terms of moving the imagination, going back to that again, the things that must go and what force through the mind when they're held up to the nose. I don't know, I like that. I think it's neat. So to move on to a more generalized answer about the process, I like it because I think that I am nurturing other people as well as myself. Now, I've said this before, sorry for the repetition, but before I got into doing this, I was a little frustrated sexually. I hadn't had sex in a year, basically. For physical reasons, it's a challenge being a woman. I just had a whole bunch of womanly issues pile up at once, and things that are very typical of women having, but I had them all in one little span of time, and acupuncture rocks. But anyway, yeah, I was going a little crazy, and somebody that I had befriended on a website forum that I no longer visit because it's full of immature people, suggested that I start trying to write erotica. I was a newspaper writer at the time, so I knew how to write, and I needed an outlet for my sexuality, and that's where that came in. But the same person also suggested that I try providing my panties, and I did it. I did both, and I've had a lot of fun in the entire process too. I especially like taking photographs of myself. I'm not still the type of person who will wake up in the morning and spend hours in front of a mirror. I don't even wear makeup very often. It's kind of hard to do in this environment that I live in anyway, but I'm not vain in that sense. But you get me in front of my Pentax or my Canon, and I like to watch myself go. I like to tell stories. I like to embrace my femininity through my photography, my self-photography. I think it's fun. I just termed myself, as a result of a conversation that I had on the phone the other day with somebody, I just termed myself the shy exhibitionist. So what that means is, in my daily life in flesh, I can't even walk around in a bikini top without getting stared at cross-eyed. Mostly by women, but the men look at you like, "Wow, she's in a bikini top. What's going on?" So it's very conservative where I live, and I don't so much mind that, but there is a part of me that really likes to show off, and that's where this exhibitionist part of me comes in. I was able to satisfy that duality, I guess you could say, about my character online and by being a used panties provider. So that's another part of the process that I really like. And so I don't make this too long, just really briefly, I don't even know if I want to go into the dislikes, but DS, since you are familiar with me and the processes involved with being a panty provider in general, I'll just say that I really don't like what I see in terms of corruption and abuse of power by entities that like to say they're virtuous and the this and the that, and we're using scary words like utopia and stuff, and most of it's fear driven, and yeah. So I know that you're familiar with that, DS, and thank you for at least trying to bring your voice out as a buyer to things that might have been said, particularly on the Used Panties Bad Apple blog. Moving right along, you know what else I kind of could do without is editing photos. I really like the process of taking the photos and even looking at them, but going through them and editing them. I take 500 shots or something like that for 13 pairs of panties, so it's a little tedious. I could do without that, but at the same time, I like kind of being in control over what's presented on my site, although I've expressed that it would be cool to have somebody else come in and be the photog for a little while so I could see myself through somebody else's eyes. But yeah, so that's it in a 7-minute nutshell of do I like or don't I like being a used panties provider. Thank you for your question, and thank you for continual support. Yes.